And she needs to pick her lessons. Oh, that.
That's fine. Miss Duncan. Miss Duncan Cook.
Let me get.
I couldn't get all the paper for that.
You're talking to one person. Istong gon jokayadega. Okay. Istong gon jokayadega. So that's to one person, but when you're talking to a group, you say Istong gon jokayadega ga. That's two or more people. That's a group. Istong gon jokayadega ga. And that's like somebody coming into even my household and there's 6, 7 of us there, they'll say, Stongon Jokayadega ga. Okay. We're doing moving on, guys. We're moving on. And this is related to everything that we as people use, relate to, and everything. So here we go. This is personal items. We got names for personal items, okay? Like we're gonna start on this and there'll be sentences with this, guys. There'll be sentences with this, but these are, I just want you to get familiar with these words. I just want you to get familiar with the words. And some of these are descriptive. But to use these, I have to use the first one every day. Duth sakaga. That's glasses. And that is descriptive. It's saying that something that sits on the eye. Something that sits on the eye. Duth sakaga. Duth, the base word for duth is duthwa. Remember we did the 5 senses. And that goes back to duthwa. The base word for duth, it's just to make it a word, we have to say duth sakaga. Sakaga means it sets in or sets on the eye. So those are glasses. But your base word right there is duthwa for duth. Duth sakaga is glasses. So remember, we did the 5 senses, remember? You see is duthwa, to see with. Okay? Duthwa. Watch. Hasiskithkoji. Remember, hasiskithkoji is a minute, but anything with the uji at the end is small. Remember, the hasiskithka is a clock. Hasiskithkoji is a watch. Okay, any questions so far about this, okay? Okay, a ring. A ring is dingi sakpega. Dingi, the base word for dingi is istingi, which is the base word is ingi. Ingi, okay? Dingi means your hand, And sakpega, dingi sakpega, it's like putting your finger into something, okay? So you're putting your finger into a ring, okay? You're putting your finger into a ring. So you call it dingi sakpega. Okay, look here we go back. Hachko dafka, this is going back to our body parts. Hachko is ear. Dafka means it hangs, and the base word for dafka is sadafka, to hang something. Okay, like a hanger. So it's hanging off the ear, so it's called hachkodafka. Hachkodafka. That's a descriptive word. Okay. Okay, hearing aid. Ispohida. Ispohida. Pohida is to hear. Is means to hear with. When you got this, ispohida, Pohida, right here, is to hear. Is means to hear with, okay? To hear with. So that's a hearing aid. So we have, these things will come and I will make sentences with this as we go along. But remember, we did the 5 senses. And this got a lot to do with those 5 senses. There's some words in here with the 5 senses, like the hutchko. Remember, you hear with it. And this is where this goes back. False teeth. Nodi ispegida. Nodi ispegida. Remember, nodi was teeth. Ispegida means to put in. Okay, put in. Just like ispohida. Ispegida. This is to put in. This is to hear with. This is to put in. Or nudi is haga. Ishaga is a word that says it's made, okay? Tooth made. So it's false. It's not, it's been made. It's not your real teeth. It's been made. Okay. Comb, iskaska. 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 Purse, doknap hoodie. Doknap hoodie. Remember, we went down to doknap. The base word for that is doknawa, but this is a shelter for your money. Doknap hoodie. Okay. Cell phone, sidimbona hoguji. Remember, it's got the uji at the end, so it's small. Sidimbona hoga means to talk to each other. We had the phone. This one is sidimbona hoguji, cell phone. So, bona, bonayida is the base for bona. Okay. This is a base word, bonayida. Hoguji means to talk to each other. Sidimbona hoguji is cell phone. Necklace is gonawa. Gonawa. And gonawa is another word for beads. But see, we wore beads. So we called it beads for a necklace. We called it beads. So it's gonawa. Okay. Bracelet. Ingi sakpega. They're saying, the dictionary says ingi sakpega means like you put your hand into that ring. But the way my family said it, in which it's called ingi golologa. Golologa means it circles the wrist. Ingi golologa. And ingi is hand, but when you said golologa, it meant it circles it. So the situation in the environment said that it was a circle around your hand.
Hello?
So that would have been like a bracelet. We'll go back over this. Oh, I cannot hear instructor. I don't know why.
She may need to turn her volume up.
Can you turn your volume up and see what happens? Are you on mute? She's on mute, I think. Can everybody else hear me? Is there anybody else that's not hearing me? Can you hear me now, Christy? Okay, you got it? All right. So, all right, you. Okay, so we're gonna go back over this, okay? Can everybody else hear me? Okay, glasses. Dosakaga. Dosakaga. Dos is short for doswa. Remember we did the 5 senses. We studied those. Dos is short for doswa. Sakaga is like they set in the eye. So when you put on glasses, that's what they are. These are personal items, okay? Dosakaga. Hasiskifkoji is a watch. Remember, anything was small is got the uji at the end. This a clock is hasiskifka, which measures the sun. But this is a little measurement, so that's a watch. Hasiskifkoji. A ring, dingi sakpega. So dingi is short for istingi, which is ingi. Okay, ingi. So that's where this comes in. Ingi is the base word for dingi. Sakpega, that means you put your finger or your hand into a ring. Okay, into the ring. Earring, hachkodaska. Here we go back to the file. Hachko is ear. Daska. The base word for daska is sadaska. Means it's something that you hang with. Well, this one hangs off your ear, so we call it hachkodaska, earring. Hearing aid, ispohida. Ispohida is to hear with. Remember, pohida is something with the ear, pohida to hear. So it said something to hear with, hearing aid. False teeth, nodi ispagida. Nodi is teeth. Ispagida means to put something into. But then we also call it nodi ishaga. Nodi is teeth, and ishaga means it's been made. It's been made into teeth. So not being real, it's been made for you. Okay, so that's kind of descriptive too, false teeth. Comb, iskashka, iskashka. Purse, dognapodi. Dognapodi, dognap is short for dognawa. And hodi is shelter for money. It's a purse. Cell phone, sidimbona hokuji. Bona is base word for bona is bonayida. But sidin means to talk to each other, a little thing to talk to each other with. Okay, sidin bona hokuji. Necklace, gonawa. Gonawa. We didn't, necklace, this is a word for beads. Gonawa is a word for beads, but we put that bead, we didn't wear nothing but beads. So they just called it gonawa. It's a descriptive, it would be environment, okay? If you're beading something and you're saying you need gonawa, you would mean you're beading something, you would need beads. But this, and if they say, oh, he had a pretty necklace on, gonawa hidoshi desu, they're talking about beaded necklace. So this is where environment and situation comes in. Okay, right here it says ingi sakpega for bracelet. Ingi is hand. Sakpega means you put it in, but the way my family said it was golologa. Ingi golologa. Golologa means to circle around your hand. So this is where it said, when they said golologa, they meant it circled around your hand, and that meant a bracelet. Golologa. Ingi golologa was a bracelet. And so some of these are descriptive. So golologa means to circle around your hand, okay? Circle around your hand. So they meant that as a bracelet. Okay. Any questions so far? Any questions?
Golologa means the same as like wrapping.
Like wrap around, yeah, like a snake wraps around, something like that. Yeah, it means that. But now in a dictionary it says, I got a question here, ingi sapega. And to me that's like a ring too. And that would be identified as like an environment, you know. But with ingi golologa, which my family called it, was something that goes around the hand, and that meant a bracelet. So that's what my family called it.
I guess Mvskoke, that's like putting your hand
Into something,
inside the thing.
inside of something, inside of something. So most of these, are descriptive, like necklace, kunawa. We didn't have anything but beads, so we use beads. So when they say, and this is another name for beads, kunawa, and this is where environment comes in too. Say if you're beading a necklace and you got beads there and you say you need more, they're talking about the beads. But necklace is kunawa too. So there's two ways to use this, and to distinguish it is situation and environment, okay? Situation, environment, and that's called kunawa. Kunawa.
Mvhayv,
Uh-huh.
it's just a comment, but if I'm hearing it right, it's interesting. In Hebrew, there's a word zadaka, because you were saying the other word was zadaka, right? In the Hebrew, zadaka is the it's like a little box that we put tithes in to give to the poor, and that's what we say, oh, that's zadaka. So it's just interesting. When you said that word, I jumped back. I was like, oh, there's a similar word in Hebrew, which I know is completely off subject on some level, but I just think it's fascinating.
Getting back on that subject, the Creek Bible is written all in Creek. It's all written in Mvskoke, but there's two Hebrew words in there.
Wow.
The Book of Genesis, and that is Leland. One of them is Leland, but it means night and day, and it makes you wonder how these two Hebrew words got into the Mvskoke Bible.
Right. Yeah, we say
And-
Lila Tov, like good, have a good night, Lila Tov, good evening. So like you're saying from Leland. Yeah. That's fascinating.
Yeah, Leland and I forgot the slip. It was on tip of my tongue. There's two words that means night and day. And it's in there. And it took me about 3 months because I have never heard those words in the Mvskoke language. And I didn't know what they were. I kind of knew just by reading the Bible, but then I turned around and I thought I had never heard these words. And I went to our librarian, and she just happened to take Hebrew in college. And she had the Hebrew dictionary, and I said, can you look those two words up? And she did, and they were Hebrew words.
Wow.
So how that came into play, and I always went, well, the beginning, it says, I've run across Gaelic and German words in Mvskoke language. Word for cat is Saban. Really? See, that's interesting. That is very interesting because, I went back to the story of how the Mvskoke got the Bible words. They said they actually sat down with them and translated the Bible into the Mvskoke language. And that's how I got this info. I thought, you know what? Wonder if they're Hebrew. And so that's when I went to the Hebrew dictionary, and they were actually in there. So it makes you wonder about these stories. Are they just stories, or are they really, it makes you wonder about things like this. And I'm going to tell you, that's how I got interested in this language. Where, that kind of just made me more obsessive or whatever to find out more about this language, because, that really shocked me. And I don't even know what made me go back into the story and then say, okay, and I couldn't find the Hebrew dictionary and then maybe somebody wanted me to find out. The woman had that Hebrew dictionary, and she said, I have one. And I said, these two words. And so she looked it up and she said, they're in here, Becky, they're in here. And you talk about excitement. Okay.
Mvhayv.
Oh, looky here. This is.
Mvhayv.
Uh-huh.
Could you go back to watch?
Yeah. Hasiskit Koji. Hasiskit Koji. Hasiskit Koji. Base word for a hasis is hushy. And that's iskit Koji. to measure the sun, little measure of the sun. And that's also called a minute though, in a minute, in a clock. But as far as watch goes, that's where your environment comes in again. Hasiskitgoji. Hushi is the base word for husis, hus. And then iskitgoji means it measures that. Any more
Mvhayv.
questions? Uh-huh.
You
Uh-huh.
were talking about how some of our words in the Bible were Hebrew. In my travels, being different places, and in the Western United States, somebody was talking to me about our history as Native Americans, that he said there's a theory that we come from the tribe of Benjamin. And so when some of the people, when those tribes started to scatter, ours started going east, and through towards India and Mongolia, and we came over. The Native Americans out of that tribe of Benjamin came over the Bering Straits and came down that way. That was a theory that he shared with me. And I thought, I mean, it was a theory, but it kind of made sense, because when I was in Mexico one time in Tijuana, the shopkeeper there, he said, can I ask you, what ethnicity are you? And I said, American Indian. And he said, he said, oh, you're one of those. He said, one of those lazy people. He said, when the tribes were moving through Alaska and Canada and coming down into the United States, what is now the United States, he said, people started slowing down and stopping and staying here and staying there. And that's what y'all did. And we came on further south, and that's why we're Mexicans, he said. And I just laughed, but anyway, but that was a theory that I had heard, that we came from the tribe of Benjamin, one of the sons of Jacob. So.
Well, I had a professor from Harvard that's been studying American Indians for like 35 years, and that story says that we come out from the ground. He was saying that we were one of the lost 13 tribes. His theory was that we went into this tunnel, and actually the tunnel was found. That we went through this tunnel and came to the southeast, and we were climbing out of that tunnel, and that's where that story came from. These are interesting, and that's what made me study this language to the point of maybe obsession. And so that's how, and then when I found the 2 Hebrew words in the Mvskoke Bible, that blew my mind. And so I went back to that story to find those 2 words, thinking, I went back to that story saying that they actually sat down with the Hebrew people and translated the Bible. So I just started looking in the Hebrew dictionary and found it. And, it makes you wonder about these stories. Are they true accountability? True accountability. Okay, it says the Mvskoke people came out of Calama, Mexico. Is that how you pronounce that? Into the southeast? Okay, I'm going to answer some of these questions for cat is same in the Gallic word for grandma. See, Busan is cat. Is that how I pronounce it? Busan. And snow was shini. I think as we went along, we kind of, I'm sure other tribes got some of our language into it too, I think as traders moved to the Creek lands, they brought new concepts and brought their words with them to it did. you know, I see a lot of similarities, like Turkey for thank you is wado, and ours is mado. So, you know, I think it has to a point, and, you know, came out of Mexico, moved to the Southeast, and that's true. You know, there's all kinds of things, you know, that we, and, you know, like I said one time, we're a mystery. We're still a mystery. And that's a good thing. That's a good thing because, you know, being mysterious is, it keeps us looking, keeps us interested to people. There are probably people still studying us now, and, you know, to be a mystery. But like I said, if your heart is Mvskoke, you know, it's Mvskoke, you know. Well, now see, there you go, Bushki. So, you know, some of these things are, they're, you know, they shared a lot of stories with us. And, you know, I don't know if that's being done now, but I suggest if you have grandkids or your kids. And what we did was, and this is when I was showing my daughters how to cook the traditional food. We got together like on Sundays, Sunday afternoons, and we would cook a meal for the whole family, but it was a teaching time. I would cook the food and show them how to cook it in order for them to learn how to do it. And we would get together, and then the family and even visitors would come around sometimes on, and we would, yes, you can, we would, and this was my teaching time for them. And my dinner table was teaching time for my grandkids. Now, dinner time, there's some things they don't know in English, and that's okay with me. My husband said that, you know, well, we had a little girl that was, and, you know, a little girl that was starting to learn Spanish because she was looking at Dora. And she was learning it because she was watching Dora every day. Well, my husband had to block it. He blocked the channel, and she went around asking for Dora for days, you know, because she was learning Spanish. And she was learning how to count in Spanish and little things, and he blocked it. And she went around. Yeah, that's teaching kids. And if they watch it every day, that's just like this class. You know, you'll pick up. Of course, kids, you know, they're just reciting, and she was starting to count in Spanish. And my husband said, no, she's not, that's not her language, you know, she's gonna, and I was teaching her how to count in Mvskoke, but she was learning from Dora, so she walked around, and she was barely talking, but she walked around for days saying, Dora, where's Dora? Where's my Dora? And, you know, we didn't tell her we blocked it, but, you know, we just told her it doesn't come on anymore, you know, no Dora, no Dora. And she hated that. She asked for Dora for days, but, you know, she was learning something else than what I was trying to teach her. And so, see, you can learn. And this is the same way with these classes. If we keep repeating, you'll learn it. You'll learn it. The retention is, I think the retention in children are more, and I don't, but this is the thing right here. When you're teaching a child, it's a learning session for them. It's not another language. It's just learning, and they pick it up. But for adults, it's a class, and they'll say, "Oh, I can't learn that." You know, right off the bat, if you listen to adults, they'll say, "I can't learn that," because they know it's a different language, and that kind of makes their mind. You know, it's kind of like mind over. You know, like the mindset. You know, oh, I can't learn those words, but you can. But for a child, you know, it's not, it's just something that they're getting. And for adults, it's different. And that's how come, good. My tutor sits near me when we have class. She definitely supposed, see, she's a sponge. It's not a learning for her. It's just something that she's hearing and she's doing it. But that's how we learn, by hearing it. That's how I learn, by hearing it every day, hearing it around me. So that's good. That 2-year-old will probably be speaking and knowing words by the time she's 3. She will. And that, and that's where this, she don't have no intimidation. She doesn't have an intimidation. Okay, look here. I told you we was going to do descriptive words. We did animals. We did a few animals. Okay, now we're going to do occupations, because everybody's got an occupation. Okay, a policeman. Stiwanaya. Stiwanaya. Sti is short for isti, and you can put istiwanaya. Wanaya means they tie you up. And that's the handcuffs. So, this is occupations, and some of these are descriptive and some of them aren't, okay?
Yeah.
So Stiwanaya is saying somebody that ties you up, that ties a person up. A doctor is alikcha. Alikcha is a doctor, but when it's a medicine man, as far as cultural goes, it's hilishhaya. Okay, hilishhaya. And hilish is short for hilishwa, and haya means makes medicine. Okay. So this is alikcha. So there's 2 different ways that we call a physician. Alikcha is for we go to the clinics and stuff, go to a regular doctor. Okay, that's an alikcha. That is an alikcha. But when we say hilishhaya, that is a cultural medicine man. Okay, he makes the medicine. Okay, Chulga Shata is a mailman. Chulga is paper. Shata means he goes around with it. And the base word for Sata is like athida. Isata means it goes around with it. So he's a mailman. If you notice, the mail goes everywhere, doesn't it? It's a paper. Chulga, the base word for chulga is paper. Chulga, it means paper, and Sata means it goes around with it. So it's a mailman. He goes around. Okay. Fireman. Durka Ashlija. Durka is fire. Ashlija means he puts it out. And that's even like ashlijida is the base word for ashlija. Ashlijida is to turn off something. And there we go back to those infinitive verbs, don't we? Ashlijida. And ashlija means he puts it out. He puts out fire. Okay, a clown. Abilgahaya. Abilga, the base word for abilga is abilida. Abilida. It's an infinitive verb. Abilida, but abilga means to laugh. And haya means he makes you laugh. Okay? He makes you laugh. Haya is to make something. Okay? Hayada, that goes back to infinitive. Hayada is to make something. This is saying haya, it makes you laugh. Abilga haya. Does that make sense to y'all guys? These descriptive words. Yeah, good. You're getting it. A lot of this is descriptive because we didn't have these things. We didn't have, like fireman now or mailman or whatever. It was something that we had to, we had to make up words for it. And they look like good words, like a bilgahaya, somebody that makes somebody laugh. Ahagahaya is a lawyer. Ahaga means the law. Haya means it makes the law. It's a lawyer, ahagahaya. Ahagahaya. Nurse, inukalgi apasta. Inukalgi is sick people. A foster means they take care of them. So that's a nurse, and there we go again. That's descriptive. It's a descriptive word. Okay. So, and then cowboy. Waga asha. Waga is cow, and ashijida is a base word for asha. So we just cut that off and said waga asha, waga asha. But ashijida is the base word for asha. Okay, waga asha. Chairman. Oh, look at there. Oglekta, oklega. That's supposed to be oglekta. Okay. Oglekta is chair. Oklega means he sits on the chair. Okay. This is a person that sits on a chair. That's a typo right here. Misspelling. Left out a word. So all these are descriptive as far as, you know, just like animals. Just like animals, we have a lot of descriptive words in our language because we didn't have them. We didn't have them. We didn't know them. Okay. So we had to make up words for them. Well, and this stuck through the years. I don't know. This was probably after European contact and when we made our way into Oklahoma. These words were made during the time we were in Oklahoma because we didn't know what a policeman was. You know, yeah. So when they saw somebody, or even them got handcuffed, or they got handcuffed or tied, they called it stiwanaya. It tied you up. Jogasatha, they didn't know what a mailman was. We didn't have mail, but they just said, well, this paper goes around. He delivers paper, going around delivering papers. So they called him Jogasatha. You know, so all this is descriptive. And that's what I want y'all to know, that a lot of our language is descriptive. You know, it's descriptive, and there's a lot more than this. If y'all can think of some occupations, we'll go through it. Give us some names, and we'll try to translate them. You know,
Mvhayv,
yes.
could you go back to the last one, Chairman?
Yeah,
Please?
oglekta, oklega. It's supposed to be oglekta. I left out a letter. Oglekta, oklega means it sits on a chair. He
Okay.
sits on the chair.
Can you spell it for me?
Yeah.
The missing letter, I mean.
Should have been a K right there by the I and the T. Oglekta. Should have been a K between the I and the T.
Oh, okay, okay.
Okay, somebody asked what a teacher was. That's Mvhayv. 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 And that's the descriptive word too. If you think about it, it's saying that it makes something to show something. So just like I'm showing you right here, Mvhayv. Mvhayv.
Becky,
A lot of kids call me Mvhayv. They call me Mvhayv instead of, you know, teacher. They'll call me Mvhayv, or even by they don't even call me by my real name. They call me Mvhayv.
Becky,
Uh-huh.
I have a question on number 9 also, Chairman. And this was pronounced in one of the Thursday, Friday classes also. It starts with O-H.
Oh,
And it's being pronounced with a K in there, the K
Okay.
sound.
Yeah, okay. Let me explain that. You know where in the dictionary it always like hombida. But in our area, there's 3 of us in here from Hannah. We pronounce it with the ok, like hombida. Hombida. But I try to use what the dictionary says so they wouldn't be, you know, like, you know, it's from the dictionary, so that there wouldn't be any, you know, any arguments. But like this oklega, we would say oklega from us Hannah people. We would say oklega, but by the dictionary it's oklega. Oklega.
So is there actual fluent Creeks that use the OH instead of the OK? Because I grew up with it being a K also, Oklega,
They-
Okleda,
Yeah,
Oklega.
I'm sure there is. I'm sure there is, but like I said, just the way I learned was with the oak. You know, that's how I always just said oak. And you know, I think that's dialect or maybe from the area you're from. Maybe. I don't know, but we've always pronounced it with the oak, you know. So, and it's understood though. Whether you say oak or oak, it's understood. It's understood. It is understood. So if I went to somebody that says oh, and I go in there and I say oh, humbida, they know what I'm saying. They know it's understood. Okay, you can get these recordings. If you go back, they're recorded. Every one of these are recorded on the cloud. So if you go back to that, you can get these recordings and even the papers and stuff.
Mvhayv.
Mhm.
Say, since I'm from the West Eufaula area,
Uh-huh.
we've always used Oklegida, you know, Oklega,
Uh-huh.
that okay sound, Oklegida.
Yeah. Well, you know, the person that wrote this dictionary, she was from toward maybe Seminole way, maybe, I think. And so there could be that little bit of dialect deal, you know, but no matter how we say it, it's understood by other speakers. So, but we always said ok too. We say oklega or okhombida, you know. Yeah, it could be just dialect, you know, or even how we heard it. I know from West Eufaula area, one of my coworkers at college told me one time, you talk just like the West Eufaula people or Tuskegee people is what she told me. So, you know, they must, you know, maybe in that area, we did say things a little different in other areas, you know. So that's just how it always, you know, and that's where sounds help when you study your sounds. You know, it's a help because, you know, either way it's said, ok or ok, it's understood between speakers. It's understood. So, you know, I don't know, there's no right or wrong, I guess, about that. It's just, so any questions on this? Okay, Thursday, my husband's kinfolks, and you might know him, Ella, Larry Barnett.
No,
He was Sam Barnett's son.
I've heard of Sam. I don't know Larry.
Well, you know, he had a son and that he passed away. So that, of course, my husband's a Barnett. So we're gonna go to a funeral Thursday. I don't know if somebody will be teaching for me or, you know, or we cancel. It's one or the other. Okay, so be prepared for that. We're gonna go to the,
Thursday man istijari nitadon bidagi Mvhayv man atit boman ejas magag, and so I'll man Thursday man adadis, you know.
all right, cool. Right. And so, but if somebody does teach us, they'll be recorded, you know, and I'll line it up for them what they need to do. I was thinking about, there's some 2- and 3-letter words using the sounds that's broke down. Would y'all like to go back to those? Using sounds like you remember we did the 2-letter sounds and then we did 3-letter. Did we do 2- and 3-letter sounds? We didn't, have we?
I did.
Okay.
I thought they were really helpful.
Okay, so now I'm thinking about just for this, even, you know, everybody's in the same classes anyway, to see words actually made from those. And remember I said every Mvskoke word is in those sounds. To show y'all actual words from those sounds. Would that be helpful to y'all and how to break them down? Would that be helpful to any of y'all?
It would be for me.
Yes, me
Okay.
too.
I think it would be helpful to everybody, so I'm gonna put that up and let y'all look at actual words, you know, because we do have words that's actually been made out of those sounds, you know, using those sounds. And I think that way y'all can be able to break down words and, you know, be able to do that. Now let me see this. That some position up there.
I think it's that one.
This is,
Yeah.
it says GPG.
I'll try to.
You don't have to. We just got about 15 minutes. We got about 15 minutes. And somebody said they wanted time. Here it is.
Let me share.
Okay.
This time.
She's going to share this with y'all. This is somebody asked for the day, that way we did things. Okay. Look here. This is a picture. Sun up. That means it's not morning. The sun is just coming up over the horizon. Hashi Ale got. The sun's getting up. The sun's getting up. But when it gets morning, when it's just morning, when it's lighted, it's, some people call it Hayati, but we call it Hathetki. Hathetki. You know, mid-morning, Hathetki in Nafkaba. In Nafkaba. Fachalega, when the sun was straight up, we called it Fachalega. Mid-afternoon, that's when the sun is past the noon, straight up, when it's past it. Fachalegi in Nafkaba. Okay, this is when it's not evening, but it's past, way past. Fachalegi huyanat. Way past noon, because you got mid-afternoon. But then when it's past and almost to evening, it's Fachalegi huyanat. Evening, Yafki, Yafki, that's evening, Yafki. Mid-evening, Yafki in Nafkaba. Hashi Aglatgat, sundown. That's saying the sun is falling, Aglatgat. And dusk, almost dark, just like morning. When it's just hanging on the horizon, ready to go down. Yafkoshi, Yafkoshi. Nithi is night, midnight is Nithi Nafkaba. The moon is Hatisi, blood moon is Hatisi Jadi. We had that the other night, blood moon, Hatisi Jadi. Star, Golaswa. And those little clusters of stars that you see, they're not called Golaswa, they're called Gugojamba. Gugojamba. Any questions? And this is just for your, we'll go through this. We'll use sentences with this. They're called Gugojamba. And there's a difference, you know, between the stars. The stars, Golaswa is the big shiny ones. The little bitty ones that are scattered is called Gugojamba. And we'll go through these things, guys. Any questions so far? Any questions?
That's gorgeous, by the way, whoever did that. That's a beautiful.
I did that. I
Did
don't know
you?
how I did. Yes, I did. I don't know how I did it, but I did.
That's gorgeous, Mvhayv. That's a lot of work too. I'm sure
Well,
you made.
one thing, I don't know how to work a computer.
I did have a question, you know, not to be
Okay.
gluttonous, but you know me, I get passionate about stuff.
Oh, that's fine. No, remember I said, don't be afraid to ask questions.
Do you have different names for the constellations? Like
You know
different.
what? You don't know. We can put names to them, like you know, like the horse or the pony or whatever it is. My granddaughter, my 11-year-old granddaughter, she knows those stars, and she knows the names of them, and she'll say there's a rocking chair, and I didn't even know that was a rocking chair or a rocking horse. And she'll name different ones, and you know, I knew about the Big Dipper and the Little Dipper. That's about as far as I've ever went. But you know,
I just, Go ahead.
she'll name these different things, and my husband's got a telescope that he'll set outside for her, and that's how she goes. I guess either she learns them or she names them, and I can't see nothing in them. I mean, myself, I don't know how she's seeing them, but she does. And she'll say, "See, Grandma, this is this way. See, this is how it makes that." And I'm like, "I don't see it." And she goes, "It's just the stars, Grandma." She said, "You won't actually see the stars make this thing. It's the stars lined up the way they're supposed to be." And I'm like, "Oh, but she does go through that."
Nice. I love that. And I just was curious if there was a difference, if there was one specific to the culture, that.
No, all we have is like moons, the moon and the sun. So, there's some things, that we are related to cosmic, like my grandma told me, when the stars line up with the moon in one line, she said, there'll be a war.
Mm.
There'll be a war. She said, that's the sign. She said, Hofe Ojiduis, Monoad, if you ever see that, she said, there's going to be a war in our land. She used to tell us that, and I don't know. It says we have indigenous astrology with the signs, normal characteristics to the cosmological makeup of people born near and said seasons. For instance, Scorpio, this is the snake. It says, let me see, this be pretty interesting to see. For instance, a Scorpio is a snake. There's official astronomy names for some, but we kind of went by the moon a lot. My mom used to predict births by the moon, because they didn't go by the calendar. They went by 30 days when the moon changed. So she predicted my baby's birth at least by 1 to 2 days when she told me they were going to be born. And she went by and she says there's a difference, so I don't know the difference. So they could have star names. Okay, Taurus is a beaver. See there? Do you have the astrology native signs? That'd be nice. 13 moons, moon cycle. Yeah, she went by the cycle, but I don't know how she went by that cycle. She told me a lot, and a lot of it is, if I asked her, she probably would have told me. Now, see, this goes back to, I should have asked her. I should have asked some questions, and I didn't. So, and the alignment, like you said, the alignment is, yeah, it is fun. I mean, she predicted my birth, and I'm like, how'd you know that? She said by the moon, by the sun, by the moon, she said. So that's how she predicted my kids' birth, and they were at least 1 to 2 days off when she predicted. She said, you're going to have this baby this day or something. It'd be at least 2 days or before, 2 days after, or 1 day before, or 1 day after. She would say that. Any questions so far? We got 9 minutes. If there's any questions.
Will we be able to download this from the site?
They do, ain't it, Jordan?
I'll have to get it because I don't have it.
Okay, she's going to get that and have it put in. So yeah, she will. Just give her a little bit of time. She's an awful busy woman. Half of us is because we make her busy, and the other half is she's busy with her own job, and we add to it. But yeah, she'll get it to you.
I'll try to post it on there.
She's going to try to post it on there now. So y'all can get it.
Mvhayv,
Yes.
I was going to tell you real quick. You talked about your husband's grandmother was Jenny Barnett.
A mother.
Mother. Well, my
Uh-huh.
mom, my grandma used to say that we were related to Jenny Barnett. But our Barnett name comes from the Nuyaka area, Mvskoke
Uh-huh.
area, north of Okima.
Uh-huh.
That's where we got our Barnett name. So that's why we're technically not related to them.
Yeah, y'all
but
not
we're
related. Yeah.
Yeah, we're related to them through the the mothers, in that family. That's why Edmund Barnett.
Uh-huh. I knew
we're
him.
related- We're related to his wife. So
Oh,
their kids, their kids say that there are cousins like Emmanuel.
uh-huh.
Emmanuel says that, we're cousins. And so that's how they grew up, knowing we were cousins. But we technically weren't related to the Barnetts in that side, but we were related to the mothers. The women that married the Barnetts is who we're related
Oh, yeah.
to.
Well, Ginny Beaver, she was Ginny Beaver.
Yeah.
And his grandmother was Hannah. Hannah Arbuckle. She married an Arbuckle, but she was I guess a Beaver. She was a Hannah Beaver. So,
And so
yeah,
like Fred Beaver. We're
no, I
related.
think they're different. They're different Beaver, yeah.
Yeah, but we're related to Fred Beaver also.
Oh,
And that
really?
Hattie
Yeah.
Beaver. Mhm.
I think she downloaded this. I don't know if she did, but this is one of them. The sun position had a lot to do. That's the only way my grandma knew how to tell time. And finally, I don't know, as we were growing up, she would, maybe ask my mother or something, and sometimes she would, but this is how she told time. So she'd say, I woke up after midnight and couldn't go back to sleep. So she'd say, so see, and she said it got to morning sometimes, but she would tell time by this, and we understood her. And that was strange, that we understood what she was talking about. And I guess living with it all our lives, with her, and I wished I had a lot more time with her, but it was strange that we knew what she was talking about, just by the sun, where the moon was, the sun, she would tell us things like this. Any questions? Okay, we got 6 minutes. So we started 4 minutes early. So we're going now Thursday, either somebody will teach for me or we'll just cancel for Thursday because of this funeral that I'm going to. But I will be back Friday. And then I want to try to have the sounds, the words, using the sounds that day. And that's going to be just for you to FYI, just so that y'all can break down some of these words and learn them. Okay. And it'll show you how these words are used, okay? The sounds are used in these words. And I know we're jumping a little bit, but that's okay. It's a learning session, okay? Thank you. Thank you. My husband, he played a lot of fast pitch softball, and my husband played with him and everything. And he said, we got a call 1 o'clock saying that he passed. He had leukemia, and I think cancer runs in my husband's family because he lost a sister to cancer, and he had one sister that had it. And then, so I think cancer runs in his family. So we appreciate that. I thank you, Amy. So, all right, I'm going to call it exactly 4 minutes after. So, Mado, I'm going to say Mado, and I'm going to let y'all go.
Mado Mvhayv.
Got a lot of respect for you guys.
Mado Mvhayv.
No. They're so on.
Oh, I know.
Mado.
Aha.
Mado.
Aha.
There we go.